Most people believe that motivation is the secret to success. They wait for the perfect mood, the right energy, or the sudden burst of inspiration before taking action. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow, next week, or next month when they finally feel ready. But here is the truth. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather, bright one moment and stormy the next. If you build your life on motivation alone, you will never reach the finish line. Discipline is different. Discipline does not care how you feel. It does not wait for the mood to strike. It shows up whether you are tired, uninspired, or distracted. Discipline is the voice inside that whispers, "Do it anyway." It is the power to choose action over comfort, consistency over excuses, and long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. If motivation is the spark that ignites the flame, discipline is the firewood that keeps it alive. Without discipline, the spark dies. With discipline, the fire grows stronger every single day. Think of the people you admire most: athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, creators. Do you believe they wake up every day filled with endless motivation? Of course not. They have mornings when their bodies ache, nights when they feel exhausted, and moments when doubts scream louder than dreams. But they keep going. They lace up their shoes, sit down at their desks, and push through the resistance. They act not because they feel like it, but because they have trained themselves to do what must be done. Motivation is loud in the beginning, but fades when the work gets hard. Discipline is quiet in the beginning, but grows stronger as the work continues. Motivation may start the race, but discipline crosses the finish line. The people who depend on motivation quit when their emotions shift. The people who depend on discipline keep walking, and step by step, they separate themselves from everyone else. The truth is that feelings follow actions, not the other way around. If you wait until you feel motivated, you will waste days, weeks, even years. But if you act first, motivation often returns. When you take the first step, even a small one, your energy shifts. You build momentum, and momentum feeds motivation. This is why successful people design routines that require action before inspiration. They train, read, write, save, or practice not because they feel like it, but because it is part of who they are. Discipline is honest in a way motivation is not. Motivation flatters you with promises. This will be easy. You will feel amazing. Discipline tells the truth. This will be hard, but it will be worth it. Discipline forces you to face discomfort, but it also delivers results. And those results, once earned, can never be taken away. The beauty of discipline is that it can be built. No one is born disciplined. It is a skill, a muscle, a habit. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. At first it feels heavy, like lifting a weight your body is not used to. But repetition builds strength. Soon, what once felt impossible becomes natural. You stop trying to be disciplined and simply become a disciplined person. This is why starting small matters. You do not need to overhaul your entire life in one dramatic gesture. Begin with one act of discipline. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Read 5 pages. Take a short walk. Save a small amount of money. Each choice might feel insignificant, but together they build something powerful. Small victories accumulate into confidence. Confidence creates momentum. Momentum fuels transformation. Understand, too, that discipline is not restriction, it is freedom. The The discipline of exercising regularly frees you from illness. The discipline of saving money frees you from financial stress. The discipline of working hard frees you from regret. At first, discipline feels like saying no. But in reality, it is saying yes to the future you want. Every sacrifice today buys freedom tomorrow. If you rely only on motivation, your life will always feel unstable, controlled by moods and emotions. If you build discipline, your life becomes steady, guided by choices rather than feelings. You cannot control how you feel every day, but you can always control what you do. And in the end, it is your actions, not your emotions, that define your destiny. So stop waiting for inspiration. Stop chasing the temporary high of motivation. Start practicing the art of discipline. Train yourself to do the work, especially on the days you do not feel like it. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is unstoppable. It turns effort into progress, progress into growth, and growth into achievement. The people who win are not the ones who feel motivated every day. They are the ones who choose discipline every day. They do not rely on fleeting sparks. They rely on steady fire. Remember this truth. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Big changes rarely happen all at once. They are almost always the product of countless small actions, repeated with discipline until they compound into something powerful. Too often, people fail to improve their lives because they believe transformation must be dramatic. They set massive goals, expect instant results, and when progress does not come fast enough, they quit. But real growth does not come from sudden bursts. It comes from steady habits. It comes from small steps repeated every single day. Think of a single drop of water. On its own, it seems meaningless. But when drops fall again and again over time, they carve valleys through stone. That is the power of small habits. Each one may feel minor in the moment, but their accumulation has the power to change everything. Reading 10 pages may not feel life-changing today, but a year of that discipline means thousands of pages and countless new ideas in your mind. Saving a few dollars each week may seem trivial, but compounded over years, it becomes freedom. 10 minutes of daily exercise might look insignificant, but it builds strength, health, and confidence. Small habits are the bricks that construct the life you desire. The trap most people fall into is dismissing small actions because they seem too easy. They underestimate the value of tiny, consistent effort. They chase intensity instead of consistency. They prefer the idea of massive leaps, but the world rewards steady footsteps. Discipline is what keeps you loyal to those steps. Discipline says, even if the action feels too small to matter, I will still do it, because I know that tomorrow it will matter more. Habits work because of compounding. Just as money compounds in a bank account, habits compound in your character. At first, the difference is invisible. You may not notice progress after a few days or even weeks, but over months and years, the gap between the disciplined and the undisciplined becomes enormous. What started as small advantages become massive differences in outcomes. The disciplined person builds momentum, while the undisciplined one stays stuck in place. This is why designing habits carefully is so important. Vague goals like, I will be healthier or I will become smarter, rarely work. Discipline thrives on clarity. Translate big dreams into small, repeatable actions. Say, I will walk for 10 minutes after dinner. Say, I will write 1 page each morning. Say, I will save 5% of my paycheck. Specificity makes action easier. Repetition makes it automatic. One of the most effective methods for building habits is habit stacking. Attach a new habit to an old one. If you already brush your teeth in the morning, add 2 minutes of stretching immediately afterward. If you drink coffee, use that time to read 1 page of a book. If you commute, listen to an audiobook instead of music. By connecting the new with the familiar, you remove resistance. You no longer fight to remember. You simply follow the rhythm of your day. But discipline also means recognizing that negative habits compound in the same way. A skipped workout turns into a week of skipping. An unnecessary purchase snowballs into debt. An hour wasted becomes a cycle of procrastination. Just as small actions create success, small missteps create failure. Discipline is the guardrail that keeps you from sliding off track. It is the awareness that every choice matters, even when it seems small. Remember that success is not a single leap. It is the accumulation of tiny, disciplined acts. The world may celebrate the big moment, the medal, the book launch, the business success, but those moments are only possible because of years of unseen discipline. The hours of training, the countless pages written, the sacrifices made. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is the secret behind every triumph. Every athlete began with simple drills. Every writer began with a single sentence. Every entrepreneur began with one idea and one action. The people who reach greatness are not those who tried to do everything in one day, but those who chose to do something small every day and refused to stop. Consistency beats intensity. Daily effort beats occasional bursts. That is the law of growth. So never underestimate the power of small habits. They are not insignificant, they are everything. They are the seeds of your future. Plant them with care. Water them with discipline. Protect them from neglect. And one day, you will look back in amazement at how far those tiny steps carried you. You will see that your entire life was built not in one giant act of motivation, but in thousands of small acts of discipline. One of the most powerful expressions of discipline is the ability to say no. Most people imagine discipline only as the act of doing, working harder, pushing further, accomplishing more. But just as important as what you choose to do is what you refuse to do. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something that matters. And if your yes is too cheap, your dreams will be too expensive to afford. People often say yes because they fear disappointing others. They say yes to invitations they do not care about, commitments that drain them, and habits that distract them. They say yes to entertainment that wastes time, to purchases that eat away at their savings, to conversations that add no value. And then they wonder why their life feels scattered, why their focus is weak, why their goals are still distant. The answer is simple. They have not learned the discipline of saying no. Saying no is not negativity. It is clarity. It is the refusal to surrender your limited time and energy to things that do not align with your vision. It is the recognition that every yes has a cost, and you must protect your yes like it is sacred. If you say yes to staying out late, you are saying no to waking up early. If you say yes to junk food, you are saying no to health. If you say yes to procrastination, you are saying no to progress. Discipline is the art of choosing wisely which doors to close so the right ones can remain open. But saying no is difficult. It requires courage. People fear rejection, conflict, or being labelled selfish. They fear that saying no will hurt relationships or opportunities. Yet the truth is that the people who respect you will honour your boundaries, and those who don't were never truly on your side. Every strong leader, every successful creator, every disciplined achiever has been shaped by the no's they have spoken. Without the courage to refuse distractions, they would never have reached their goals. The practice of saying no begins small. Say no to 5 minutes of mindless scrolling. Say no to the extra slice of dessert. Say no to the unnecessary purchase that chips away at your savings. Each small refusal strengthens your willpower. Over time, you gain the confidence to say no to bigger temptations, toxic relationships, unworthy opportunities, shortcuts that seem easy but lead nowhere. Discipline builds gradually, and the more you practice it, the stronger your no becomes. Another key to saying no is to have a bigger yes waiting. If your vision is strong, no becomes easier. You are not simply rejecting something, you are protecting something more valuable. You are not turning away from the distraction, you are turning toward your destiny. When you know what you want, no is no longer a sacrifice. It is a strategy. Consider the most disciplined people in history. They achieved greatness not just through what they did, but through what they refused. Writers said no to endless entertainment so they could focus on their craft. Athletes said no to comfort so they could train. Entrepreneurs said no to quick profits so they could build lasting businesses. Their no's were as important as their yeses. Without them, their energy would have been scattered, their focus diluted, their progress destroyed. The discipline of saying no is also about self-respect. It is the recognition that your time matters, your energy matters, and your goals matter. When you say yes too easily, you tell yourself that your priorities are not important. But when you say no with clarity, you send yourself a powerful message. My vision deserves protection. My purpose deserves space. My life deserves discipline. From this moment forward, treat your yes as a promise and your no as a shield. Do not give your yes to what is trivial. Do not fear the discomfort of saying no. Each refusal is not a loss, it is an investment in your future. The discipline to say no is one of the greatest skills you can ever master because it gives you control over your life. And with control comes freedom, focus, and the power to finally achieve what matters most. Discipline is not only a matter of willpower, it is also a matter of design. Many people believe they fail because they are weak, when in reality, they have simply built an environment that works against them. The truth is that willpower is limited, but environment is constant. If you design your surroundings to support discipline, you make the right choices easier and the wrong choices harder. In this way, environment becomes your silent partner in success. Imagine trying to eat healthy while keeping your kitchen full of cookies and chips. You may resist for a while, but eventually temptation wins. Now imagine if your kitchen held only fruits, vegetables, and lean meals prepared in advance. Suddenly, the same act of discipline becomes almost effortless. The difference is not in your strength, but in your environment. The disciplined life is not built on endless battles with temptation. It is built on removing those battles entirely. This principle applies everywhere. If you want to wake up earlier, place your alarm across the room so you must physically get out of bed to turn it off. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow so it greets you each night. If you want to exercise, set out your workout clothes before you sleep. These are small environmental adjustments, but their impact is enormous. They reduce resistance. They turn good intentions into natural actions. Your environment is not only physical, it is also digital. The notifications on your phone, the websites you bookmark, the accounts you follow, these shape your attention every day. If your phone is filled with distractions, your discipline will constantly be under attack. But if your phone is curated with purpose, educational apps, inspiring content, reminders of your goals, then your discipline is supported instead of sabotaged. Guard your digital environment with the same care you give to your physical one. Environment is also social. The people around you influence your discipline more than you realize. Spend time with people who chase comfort, and discipline feels impossible. Spend time with people who value growth, and discipline becomes normal. Your circle is either your cage or your launch pad. Choose carefully. The wrong companions will drain your energy with complaints, gossip, and excuses. The right companions will push you higher with encouragement, accountability, and example. Think of your life as a system. Every system is perfectly designed to get the results it produces. If your system is built around distraction, comfort, and weakness, then those will be your results. If your system is built around focus, challenge, and strength, then discipline will naturally follow. Do not blame yourself for poor results if your environment is designed to produce them. Instead, redesign your environment to match the life you want. Even the smallest tweaks matter. Keep water on your desk to drink more. Remove television from your bedroom to sleep better. Create a dedicated workspace to train your mind for focus. Replace negative voices with positive input. Each change may seem minor, but together they transform the landscape of your discipline. They make the path of growth smoother and the path of failure harder to walk. This is the essence of discipline by design, making good choices the default. You do not need to rely on endless self-control if the environment itself encourages the right behavior. A person who must fight temptation constantly will eventually fall. A person who removes temptation rarely struggles at all. True discipline is not about constant resistance. It is about intelligent preparation. From now on, stop relying only on willpower. Instead, look around you. What in your environment pulls you off track? What in your space supports your vision? Shape your surroundings to protect your focus, and discipline will become far easier to sustain. The person who controls their environment controls their future. Procrastination is one of the greatest enemies of discipline. It whispers in your mind, convincing you that you will work later, that tomorrow will be better, that there is still plenty of time. But tomorrow rarely comes the way you imagine. Procrastination steals days, weeks, and years, leaving you stuck in the same place while your goals remain distant. Discipline is the weapon that defeats it, and understanding how to use that weapon is essential. People procrastinate for many reasons. Some avoid tasks because they fear failure. Some wait because the task feels too overwhelming. Others delay because they want conditions to be perfect before starting. But perfection never arrives, fear never disappears, and overwhelming tasks only grow heavier the longer you wait. The cycle of procrastination feeds itself. The more you delay, the harder starting becomes. Discipline breaks the cycle by forcing action now, not later. One of the simplest strategies is the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Answer the email, wash the dish, fold the shirt. Each small completion builds momentum. More importantly, it teaches your brain that action is easier than avoidance. When you act instantly, you starve procrastination of its power. For larger tasks, break them down. The human mind resists big, undefined work, but it can handle small, concrete steps. Writing a book sounds impossible. Writing one paragraph sounds manageable. Running a marathon feels overwhelming. Running for 5 minutes feels doable. Discipline means lowering the barrier to entry so action becomes possible. Once you begin, momentum carries you forward. Another effective tool is the Pomodoro technique, working in short bursts of intense focus followed by breaks. 25 minutes of pure concentration is far less intimidating than hours of vague effort. Discipline is not about chaining yourself to a chair all day. It is about structuring your time so progress feels achievable. Each focused burst chips away at procrastination and builds steady progress. Environment plays a role here as well. Procrastination thrives in distraction. If your phone, television, or social media are within reach, your focus will suffer. Create an environment where starting is simple and distractions are distant. Put your phone in another room, block distracting websites, clear your desk of clutter. Make action easy and procrastination difficult. But discipline against procrastination is not just about tools. It is also about mindset. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop believing you need to feel ready. The truth is, you rarely feel ready. Readiness is created through action. Once you begin, your energy rises, your confidence grows, and the task that seemed impossible becomes manageable. The act of starting is often all you need. Remember, procrastination is not laziness, it is avoidance. You avoid what feels uncomfortable. But discipline trains you to face discomfort instead of fleeing from it. Each time you choose to start, even when you would rather delay, you strengthen your ability to act in spite of resistance. That strength carries into every area of life. Procrastination is also defeated by accountability. Tell someone your goal, set a deadline, or create a system of consequences and rewards. When others know what you intend to do, procrastination loses its grip. Discipline thrives when responsibility is clear. You are far less likely to delay when someone is counting on you. Ultimately, the cure for procrastination is simple. Act now. Not later, not tomorrow, not when you feel like it. Now. Every great achievement began with someone choosing to start. They did not wait for courage. They created it by moving forward. The first step does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be taken. Discipline against procrastination means training yourself to act in the moment, to value progress over perfection, to understand that the pain of starting is always less than the pain of regret. Each time you choose action, you weaken procrastination's grip. Each time you delay, you strengthen it. The choice is always yours. From this moment on, treat procrastination as the thief it is. Do not let it steal another hour of your life. Use discipline as your shield and action as your weapon. Begin now, however small, and let momentum carry you forward. The disciplined do not wait, they create. And that is why they win. Discipline in health is the foundation of discipline in every other area of life. Without physical strength, mental clarity, and consistent energy, it becomes harder to practice discipline in work, relationships, or personal growth. Your body is the vessel through which you live, and treating it with discipline is not optional. It is essential. When you master discipline in health, you build the base upon which all other forms of discipline stand. Health discipline begins with the basics: sleep, nutrition, and exercise. These are not glamorous, but they are powerful. Sleep is the engine of recovery. Without enough of it, your mind becomes foggy, your willpower weakens, and your mood declines. Many people sabotage their goals simply by neglecting sleep. Discipline means respecting rest as a non-negotiable. It means turning off the television, putting away the phone, and going to bed at a consistent hour. Quality sleep is not a luxury, it is a requirement for peak performance. Nutrition is another pillar. The food you eat is the fuel your body runs on. If you feed yourself with junk, your energy will crash, your focus will scatter, and your discipline will fade. But when you choose whole foods, balanced meals, and steady hydration, your body responds with strength and stamina. Discipline here is not about perfection, but about consistency, choosing the salad more often than the fries, the water more often than the soda, the portion that nourishes instead of the portion that numbs. Each disciplined choice compounds into better health. Exercise is the visible form of physical discipline. Moving your body trains not only muscles but also your mind. The act of showing up to exercise when you do not feel like it is a lesson in self-control that spreads into other areas of life. Whether it is lifting weights, running, practicing yoga, or walking daily, the discipline of consistent movement builds resilience. The body becomes stronger, and so does the will. Exercise teaches you to push through discomfort, to persist past fatigue, and to prove to yourself that you can do hard things. Beyond these basics, health discipline also involves moderation. Too much screen time, too much alcohol, too much indulgence in any form erodes your energy and focus. Discipline is not about never enjoying life, but about setting limits that protect your long-term well-being. It is saying yes to pleasure in balance and no to excess that robs you of vitality. The disciplined life in health is not restrictive. It is liberating. With strong health, you gain freedom from illness, from fatigue, from the constant drag of low energy. When your body is fueled, rested, and active, every other challenge feels lighter. You have the stamina to work, to learn, to create, and to connect. You cannot control every outcome in life, but you can control how you care for your body. That control creates a foundation of strength. The key to health discipline, as in all discipline, is starting small. You do not need to overhaul your diet in a single day. Begin by drinking more water. Add 1 serving of vegetables. Walk for 10 minutes. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier. These small changes require discipline, but they are manageable. Over time, they grow into habits, and habits create transformation. The disciplined person does not look for quick fixes, they look for sustainable practices. Health discipline also means consistency in the face of setbacks. Everyone misses workout, eats poorly, or stays up too late at times. Discipline is not destroyed by one mistake. It is defined by the response. Do you let a slip turn into a spiral, or do you return to your habits the next day? The disciplined return. They treat health as a lifelong commitment, not a temporary project. When you think about the most successful people in any field, remember that many of them guard their health with great discipline. They know that energy is the currency of achievement. Without it, nothing else can be sustained. By caring for their health, they buy themselves more time, more focus, more strength. From this moment on, treat your health as the highest priority for discipline. Protect your sleep. Fuel your body with care. Move daily. Moderate your indulgences. Begin with small steps. Remain consistent and build habits that last a lifetime. With health as your foundation, discipline in every other part of life becomes far easier. And with that discipline, your potential becomes limitless. Financial discipline is one of the clearest demonstrations of self-control, and yet it is also one of the most neglected. Many people dream of wealth, freedom, and security, but their daily choices with money sabotage those dreams. Just as small habits build health and strength, small financial decisions build wealth and stability. Discipline in money is not about being rich overnight. It is about building a foundation that allows you to live with freedom and peace of mind. The first rule of financial discipline is simple. Spend less than you earn. This may sound obvious, but countless people live in constant debt because they ignore it. They chase instant gratification, new clothes, new gadgets, nights out, while sacrificing their long-term stability. Discipline means saying no to unnecessary purchases, resisting the pull of advertising, and focusing on what truly matters. Each time you spend with intention, you take control of your future instead of surrendering it. Saving is the next pillar. Even small amounts saved consistently grow into something powerful. The disciplined saver understands the power of compounding. A few dollars each day may not look like much, but over months and years, it multiplies into opportunities and security. Saving is not about deprivation, it is about preparation. It is about giving your future self the resources to thrive. Financial discipline also means creating and following a budget. Many resist this idea, thinking budgets are restrictive. In truth, a budget is liberating. It is a plan that ensures your money goes where you want it to go instead of slipping away unnoticed. A budget is not about saying no to everything. It is about saying yes to your priorities. Discipline here is about awareness and control, not punishment. Debt is the enemy of freedom, and discipline is the shield against it. Credit cards, loans, and easy financing tempt people into trading tomorrow's peace for today's comfort. The disciplined avoid debt whenever possible and attack it with consistency when it cannot be avoided. Every dollar used to reduce debt is a dollar that buys back freedom. Each disciplined payment is a step toward financial independence. Investing is another form of discipline. It requires patience, consistency, and a long-term mindset. The undisciplined chase quick profits, gamble on trends, and panic at the first sign of loss. The disciplined investor studies, plans, and stays steady. They understand that wealth is built slowly through steady contributions and compounding growth. Discipline in investing is not about brilliance, it is about consistency. But financial discipline is not only about numbers, it is also about mindset. It is about valuing long-term security over short-term pleasure. It is about recognizing that money is a tool, not a toy. The disciplined see money as a servant, not a master. They use it to build, to create, and to support their purpose. The undisciplined let money control them, chasing it endlessly, but never finding peace. The practice of financial discipline begins small. Skip one unnecessary purchase. Save a small percentage of each paycheck. Track your spending for a week. These small acts build awareness and control. Over time, they become habits that guide every financial decision. The disciplined person does not need to think about saving or resisting temptation. It becomes automatic. There will always be setbacks, unexpected expenses, mistakes, or emergencies will happen. Discipline is not destroyed by these moments. It is revealed by them. The disciplined adjust, recover, and continue. They do not abandon their plan at the first difficulty. They see financial discipline as a lifelong commitment, not a temporary project. True wealth is not measured only by how much money you have, but by how much control you have over your life. A disciplined person may have less income than others, but if they live without debt, with savings, and with security, they are freer. They sleep easier, worry less, and live with more peace. Financial discipline is not about greed. It is about freedom. From this moment on, treat every dollar as a choice. Each one can bring you closer to freedom or deeper into bondage. Use discipline to guide those choices. Spend with intention. Save consistently. Avoid debt. Invest patiently. Build habits that protect your future. With financial discipline, you create not only wealth but also the freedom to live on your own terms. Discipline in work and learning is one of the most powerful ways to transform your life. The modern world is full of distractions, and knowledge doubles at a pace faster than ever before. If you want to thrive, you cannot rely only on talent or luck. You must train yourself to focus, to practice deliberately, and to keep learning when others have stopped. Work and learning are not separate from discipline. They are its natural arena. Without discipline, potential goes unused. With discipline, potential turns into mastery. The disciplined worker does not wait for inspiration. They understand that progress is made by showing up consistently, even when they do not feel like it. Each morning they sit down and begin, not because conditions are perfect, but because commitment requires it. In contrast, the undisciplined wait for the right mood, and while they wait, opportunities slip away. Discipline is the difference between wishing and working, between intention and execution. Deep work is a hallmark of discipline. In a world that celebrates multitasking, the disciplined know that real progress comes from focus. When you give your full attention to a single task, you accomplish more in 1 hour than most do in 3. But this level of focus requires training. It requires resisting the constant pull of emails, messages, and notifications. Discipline in work means shutting the door, silencing distractions, and committing your mind fully to the task at hand. Learning also demands discipline. It is not enough to know what you already know. Growth requires constant learning, and learning requires effort. The disciplined learner sets aside time each day to read, to study, to practice new skills. They understand that knowledge compounds, just like habits and money. 10 pages read each day becomes hundreds of books over a lifetime. 15 minutes of practice daily turns into mastery over years. The disciplined learner is never finished. They are always evolving. Failure plays an important role in disciplined learning. Those without discipline see failure as proof to quit. The disciplined see failure as feedback. They study their mistakes, extract the lesson, and return stronger. Discipline turns setbacks into stepping stones. It transforms the pain of failure into the fuel of progress. The connection between work and learning is powerful. Work without learning becomes stagnant. Learning without work becomes abstract. Discipline ties them together. Through disciplined work, you apply what you learn. Through disciplined learning, you improve how you work. Together, they create a cycle of growth that accelerates over time. One practical way to apply discipline in work and learning is to create routines. Block time for deep work. Block time for study. Treat these appointments with the same seriousness as meetings with others. Do not wait for free time. Schedule it. Discipline thrives in structure, and structure ensures that important tasks do not get lost in the noise of the urgent. Another practice is deliberate practice. Ordinary practice repeats what you already know. Deliberate practice challenges you at the edge of your ability. It is uncomfortable, sometimes frustrating, but it is where real growth happens. The disciplined do not avoid this discomfort. They embrace it. They know that mastery is not built in comfort zones, but in the spaces just beyond them. Work discipline also requires consistency over intensity. Anyone can work hard for a day. Discipline means working steadily for years. It is showing up on good days and bad, pushing through boredom, resisting distractions, and keeping your eyes on the bigger goal. Over time, this consistency builds reputations, careers, and legacies. The disciplined worker and learner also seek accountability. They surround themselves with others who challenge them, who push them to higher standards. They ask for feedback, not flattery. They welcome correction because they know it sharpens their skills. Undisciplined people avoid criticism, but disciplined people crave it because it is how they grow. Ultimately, discipline in work and learning is about identity. It is about seeing yourself as someone who does the work, who learns, who grows, regardless of circumstances. When you identify as disciplined, you no longer debate whether to study or to focus. You simply do it because it is who you are. From this moment forward, approach your work with discipline. Treat your learning with the seriousness it deserves. Protect your time, embrace discomfort, and commit to consistency. Let every day contain an act of work that moves you forward and an act of learning that expands your mind. In doing so, you create a life of growth, mastery, and lasting achievement. Many people see discipline as restriction, but in reality, discipline is freedom. At first glance, this seems like a paradox. How can rules, routines, and limits create liberty? When you look closer, you see the truth. A lack of discipline leads to chaos, and chaos steals your freedom. Discipline, on the other hand, creates order, and order opens the door to choices, opportunities, and peace of mind. Discipline is the bridge to freedom. Consider your health. Without discipline in eating, sleeping, and moving, your body becomes weak and sick. Illness restricts your freedom more than any routine ever could. The person who disciplines themselves to exercise and eat well is freer to travel, to work, to play, to live without constant pain or fatigue. Their discipline buys them freedom that those without discipline do not have. Think about money. Without financial discipline, debt becomes a prison. Every bill, every interest payment, every overdue notice becomes a chain. The person who spends recklessly feels free in the moment, but pays with years of stress and limitation. The disciplined saver, however, builds security and independence. They may sacrifice small pleasures today, but in return, they gain the freedom to live without fear tomorrow. Even in time management, discipline equals freedom. Without it, your days are filled with distraction, procrastination, and regret. Hours slip away with nothing to show for them. You become a prisoner of busyness without progress. But when you discipline your time, planning, prioritizing, focusing, you create space for what truly matters. You gain the freedom to rest, to enjoy, to create, because your responsibilities are handled with order. The paradox is clear. The undisciplined chase freedom but end up trapped, while the disciplined accept structure and end up free. This is why elite soldiers, athletes, and leaders repeat the phrase, discipline equals freedom. They know that without discipline, skill cannot be sharpened, missions cannot be completed, and goals cannot be achieved. Freedom is not the absence of rules, it is the reward of self-control. Discipline also frees the mind. When you lack discipline, your thoughts are clouded with guilt, doubt, and indecision. You wonder if you should act, if you should start, if you should resist temptation. Your mind becomes noisy with debate. But when you live with discipline, decisions are simple. You know your priorities, you follow your routines, and you stop wasting energy on endless choices. This mental clarity is a form of freedom many never experience. Some argue that discipline is boring, that it steals spontaneity and joy. But true discipline does not eliminate joy, it protects it. The disciplined person can enjoy a vacation fully because their work is complete. They can celebrate success without guilt because they earned it. They can rest deeply because they know they have given their best. Joy without discipline is fleeting. Joy with discipline is lasting. Discipline also gives freedom in relationships. When you discipline yourself to listen, to speak with respect, to control anger, and to show up consistently, your relationships grow stronger. Destroys trust, but discipline builds it. With trust comes freedom, the freedom to love without fear, to share without doubt, to build a future together with stability and peace. The path of discipline is not always easy, but it is always rewarding. Each choice of discipline may feel like a restriction in the moment, but over time, those choices create a life with more freedom, not less. The discipline to learn frees you from ignorance. The discipline to practice frees you from mediocrity. The discipline to save frees you from dependence. Every act of discipline unlocks another door. Remember, freedom without discipline is an illusion. A life without boundaries does not expand, it collapses. A person who does whatever they feel like whenever they feel like it eventually loses control, loses respect, and loses opportunities. But the person who chooses discipline builds a foundation that supports freedom for years to come. From this moment forward, stop seeing discipline as a cage. See it as the key that unlocks the cage. Each routine, each sacrifice, each moment of consistency is not stealing your freedom, it is securing it. Discipline is not your enemy. It is your ally, your protector, your path to the life you truly want. Discipline equals freedom, and the more you embrace it, the freer you become. Discipline is not a temporary project. It is not something you practice for a season and then set aside once you achieve a goal. Discipline is a lifelong companion, a way of living that shapes who you are and who you continue to become. The greatest mistake people make is treating discipline like a diet to start and stop, or like a challenge to endure for a short period of time. True discipline is not an event, it is an identity. When you see discipline as temporary, you will always return to your old patterns once the goal is reached. You may lose weight only to gain it back. You may save money only to spend recklessly again. You may study for an exam and then stop learning. This cycle is exhausting and unproductive. Discipline must not be tied only to outcomes. It must be tied to who you are. When you embrace discipline as part of your identity, it never ends, because it is not what you do, it is who you are. Think of the people who inspire you most. They do not practice discipline only for a single achievement. They live disciplined lives. Habits are consistent across years, not days. Their routines carry them from one success to the next, because they never abandon the process. They understand that discipline is not about reaching a destination, but about becoming the kind of person who keeps growing, keeps striving, keeps moving forward. The lifelong practice of discipline also requires flexibility. Rigid systems eventually break. Life changes, circumstances shift, and what worked before may not work forever. The disciplined person adapts without abandoning their core values. They adjust routines when needed, but never abandon the principle of consistency. Flexibility within discipline ensures that it remains sustainable for decades, not just months. Another key to lifelong discipline is purpose. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, discipline feels like devotion. If you tie your discipline to a vision greater than yourself, whether it is your health, your family, your career, or your contribution to the world, you will find the strength to continue even when the path is hard. Purpose fuels persistence. It reminds you why the effort matters. It transforms discipline from obligation into commitment. Accountability is also vital. Over a lifetime, it is easy to drift, to grow complacent, to justify shortcuts. Surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, who hold you to high standards, keeps discipline alive. A community of accountability makes it harder to quit and easier to persevere. Discipline grows stronger when it is shared, when others walk the path with you. Lifelong discipline also requires forgiveness. Perfection is impossible. You will stumble. You will miss a workout, break a habit, overspend, or waste time. The undisciplined let these failures turn into spirals. The disciplined forgive themselves, learn the lesson, and return to the path. They know that discipline is measured not by never falling, but by always rising. A single mistake does not erase years of progress. What matters is returning quickly, consistently, and with renewed focus. Over time, the rewards of lifelong discipline compound. The habits you build in health give you energy for decades. The money you save creates security and opportunities. The knowledge you accumulate expands your influence and wisdom. The relationships you protect with discipline become strong and lasting. What begins as small acts grows into a legacy. Discipline, carried through life, becomes the story of who you are. In the end, discipline offers you something greater than success. It offers you freedom, respect, confidence, and peace. It allows you to trust yourself completely, knowing that you will do what you said you would do. It makes your word powerful, your actions consistent, and your future steady. This is the true gift of lifelong discipline. From this moment forward, stop treating discipline as something you pick up and put down. Make it part of who you are. Carry it into every season of your life, into youth, into work, into family, into old age. Let it guide your choices, protect your focus, and shape your character. Discipline is not temporary, it is eternal. And when you live with lifelong discipline, there is no limit to what you can achieve.